Vanity Fair, I live an extravagant life and I make no apologies for it. I'm free as a motherfucker. I take it seriously. God sent me here and I'm not leaving till shit changes. It's time for that superpower, which is love. It ain't no joke. The world needs it. That's the war that we in. Love is war. This is a very serious mission. I'm starting on Broadway, opening up 3 schools on them. So it's like, boom, we like out here.
He was once seen as untouchable, a self-made billionaire, a music icon, a cultural kingmaker. Sean Diddy Combs built an empire on charisma, business savvy, and star power. But now, the same man who once ruled the
P. Diddy Combs' family arrived for day 1 of his sex trafficking trial.
How is your father feeling today?
They walked into the
red carpets is being accused of building his kingdom on manipulation, fear, and abuse. The courtroom doors have opened, and what's being revealed inside is disturbing, shocking, and for many, completely unexpected. At the center of it all stands Cassandra "Cassie" Ventura, Diddy's former partner and longtime collaborator. For 4 grueling days, she sat before the court and described what she called 11 years of psychological control, emotional abuse, and forced sexual exploitation. Cassie's voice did not shake. Her words were deliberate. She spoke of freak-offs, events where she was allegedly forced to engage in drug-fueled sex acts with male escorts, while Diddy watched or directed. According to her testimony, these weren't one-time events. They were systematic, planned, and often accompanied by threats if she refused. She detailed how Diddy would demand that baby oil be purchased in bulk for these encounters. She testified that she was often under the influence, sometimes willingly, sometimes not, because it made these experiences.
She says she did not have any control really over what she wore, what she did, who she was having sex with. She's a different.
Easier to survive. But perhaps the most painful moment came when Cassie looked directly at the jury and said, "If I could give that money back and get those 11 years of my life back, I would." That money she referred to, a $20 million settlement she received late last year to avoid a civil trial. But Cassie came back, not for money, but for justice. Her words ignited a fire.
I'm blessed to be in this industry.
Yes, and you're
I
blessed.
just try to blend it with my artistry.
Yeah, and you create that.
Danity Kane also took the stand. Her testimony supported Cassie's claims. She recalled a moment in 2009, an altercation at a hotel in Los Angeles, where she saw Diddy physically attack Cassie. She said he pulled her hair, dragged her down a hallway, and screamed threats at her in front of others. That single moment, Dawn said, made her realize something was deeply wrong, but like many others, she remained silent. Until now. And then came the boys from the group B5, once signed to Diddy's label. One of them, now an adult, claimed he was also coerced, manipulated, and prosecutors believe it was. They've laid out a narrative that's far darker than anyone anticipated. They argue Diddy ran his empire like a criminal operation, controlling his inner circle through psychological abuse, manipulating careers, and using sex and drugs as weapons. The charges against him include sex trafficking, racketeering, and conspiracy. These are federal charges with serious consequences. If convicted, Combs could spend the rest of his life behind bars. The prosecution's case hinges on more than just witness testimony. They've presented surveillance footage, text messages, credit card records, and hotel receipts. They claim this paper trail proves that Diddy not only orchestrated these acts, but did so across state lines, making it a federal offense. But the defense has come prepared. Combs' lawyers argue that this was a toxic relationship, but a consensual one. They've presented their own messages, flirty, sometimes explicit, even affectionate exchanges between Diddy and Cassie. They say these messages prove there was no coercion, only dysfunction between two adults. His attorneys also point to the 2023 settlement, claiming Cassie had already been compensated and is now seeking to destroy what's left of his reputation. They say this is a takedown, not justice. Still, the damage is already widespread. Several companies have cut ties with Combs. His liquor partnerships are in jeopardy. His alma mater, Howard University, has distanced itself. Streaming platforms have started pulling some of his music, and social media has turned against him, with hashtags calling for accountability and fans expressing shock that their idol could be facing these kinds of accusations. It's not just fans watching. Other women have begun speaking out. Anonymous sources claim there are more lawsuits in the pipeline. Former employees and collaborators are allegedly preparing to come forward with additional claims. But this case isn't just about Sean Combs. It's about power, influence, and the decades-long silence in the music industry. For years, Diddy was seen as unstoppable. He discovered the notorious B.I.G. He launched careers, ran Bad Boy Records, and even hosted the MTV VMAs. He represented the American dream for many, proof that a black man from Harlem could rise to billionaire status through hustle and heart. Now, that image is crumbling, and the industry that once protected him is being forced to answer uncomfortable questions. How many people knew? How many turned a blind eye? And how many victims were never heard? As the trial continues, Cassie's testimony remains the emotional anchor of this case. Her words, raw, painful, and unforgettable, are already reshaping how the world views Sean Combs. And yet, the verdict hasn't come. The jury has more testimonies to hear, more evidence will be revealed, more skeletons perhaps will come tumbling out. But the damage is already done. Whether or not Diddy is convicted, his legacy will never be the same. This is no longer just a celebrity scandal. It's a reckoning, a moment where power, fame, and abuse are finally colliding in a court of law. The world is watching, not just for the outcome, but for the message it sends. If even Diddy can be held accountable, then maybe no one is truly untouchable.